Hi, I'm Lee from LOULEIGH.com. You can find me on Ravelry as LOULEIGH and Instagram as INSTAMATICLOULEIGH, and I sell handmade knitting bags and knitting needle cases and accessories in my Etsy shop at Shop LOULEIGH, but you can find links to all my online places at LOULEIGH.com. This is my podcast about my handmade life, and I'm so glad you've come to join me today. I've been really excited to talk to you. I have a bunch of new things to talk about, not progress on the old things, just all the new things. So today I am wearing my freshly finished neon cardigan. I mean, it still requires buttons, but I have been wearing it quite a lot buttonless. So I haven't even looked through my button stash to see if I've got anything in there. I've actually just assumed I haven't, which may not be the truth. I should go and have a peek in there just to see if I've got something that would do. But yes, I've been wearing it a lot buttonless. So the pattern was by LOCATELLI, and I think last time I had said that I was aiming to finish it for the Edinburgh Yarn Festival, and I just cracked on and there wasn't actually that much to do. So yeah, it's all done now. I made it as a warmer weather cardie. I live in the East Riding of Yorkshire, and so summer here does not mean you put your woolies away. But I've been finding as we move into spring, the bulbs are putting their heads up, so I'm going to call it spring here, that it's quite a nice layering piece. And today I am wearing it with my succulent shawl, and this is a pattern by Maria Monska. So yeah, I've been quite enjoying this sort of, I guess it's not quite a monochrome outfit, it's more sort of like just all toning together. So yeah, that's what I'm wearing today. Community news. There are loads of exciting things happening over in the LOULEIGH Ravelry group, and if you haven't joined, then please do come and join us. That would be great. The Knit 1000 Grams challenge, which was a challenge to knit a kilo of stash yarn that I started last year, is coming to an end. Well, it's not coming to an end. You can still start and carry on if you like. However, all the motivational prizes and everything are coming to an end. I think the last prize draw we had was on the 6th of February. I'm just looking at my show notes down here. And Adabar won that, and so I sent off that lovely tote bag. I sent off the lovely tote bag and a few other goodies to her. Yes, and the final prize draw is on the 10th of March. So if you are thinking about knitting a kilo of yarn from your stash, or something equally as crazy, then please do join in, and please remember to put in your last projects. There's a few people recently that have been crossing the finish line, so to speak. Yeah, and so it's been lovely to share your success. I feel like everybody should get a little medal or something, or a t-shirt. I finished Knit 1000 Grams, something like that. So since we last spoke, I have finished Knit 1000 Grams, which is really exciting. And I just thought, as I finished the neon cardigan, I had knitted 1152 grams. It turned out to only be 380 grams, which is a bit on the light side really after all that knitting. But anyway, I thought I would share some stats with you. Nothing like a few statistics thrown in there to make it feel like a sports show. So I finished 9 things and 5 pairs of socks. 5 items were gifts and 4 things for me, and 425 grams were for gifts. So those are my Knit 1000 Grams stats. And in my excitement about finishing, I totally cast on another cardigan, which I plan to finish before the Edinburgh Yarn Festival. So that will boost my total even further. And what I've been doing this year is I've been tracking yarn in and yarn out. I was inspired by Zena of Little Yellow Uke with this. Last year she was tracking yarn in and yarn out. And I've decided to count leftovers and everything because that's still stuff in my house. But so far this year, I think I'm doing okay. I have, where are we? Finished 556 grams of finished things, and I've had 300 grams in, so, and I've got another 100 grams of yarn on the way, so I'm still up a little bit. Yeah, I'm hoping to stay that way for the whole year, but we'll see how we go. It's going to be really interesting. You can see this little fluffy head here. This is the tea marshal, and we're sitting in the spot where he likes to look out the window and he likes to watch all the cars go by. He likes school days because he loves watching the kids go to school and wandering along the road. So yeah, we have taken over his spot, and you will see his little fluffy head here watching out the window, probably for the whole episode unless he decides to have a snooze later on. The next bit of community news that I had to talk about was the Stash Appreciation Society, and it's been really exciting. There's loads of finished things in that thread already, and loads of chatter going on. I'd love to see what you're planning to knit from Stash this year. You know, if you've got specific projects that you've put aside and made needle adjacent. And I'd also like to see if you're doing things to make your stash more appealing. Like, I've been winding a lot of mine into balls so it's ready to go, and I really like looking at them all. It's made it so exciting. I want to cast on all the things. So yeah, I'd love to see if you're doing anything like that. The other thing is that we're having a monthly prize draw, and for the next couple of months, I'm on the 1st of March and on the 1st of April, I'm going to be giving away a pattern, and that's really kindly been sponsored by Mars from Brownberry Chronicles. I love that she's the BBC. That just makes me laugh. Yeah, and so she's going to gift the winner a pattern up to the value of $8. So yeah, I thought that was really generous of her. Thank you very much. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that Mars's daughter, oh God, whose name's totally has just bounced out of my brain, and I've forgotten to write it down as well. Is it Adachi? I might have got that wrong. I'm really sorry. Who has opened an Etsy shop as sort of like as a way of getting experience of what it's like to run a small business, which I think is really great. And she started hand dyeing yarns, and her shop is called Dynamics Yarns. I'll put it in the show note with a link so you can go and have a look. She's saving up to buy a laptop. So yeah. So Mars is going to sort of sponsor the next couple of months for the Stash Appreciation Society, which is really kind. The other thing, I had a great idea this morning. In the middle of our dog walk, we go on a long dog walk on a Sunday, and so I had this great idea, and yeah, the end of the dog walk ended quite quickly. I was thinking about taking a shortcut home so I could come and talk to you about this sooner, but anyway, I pretty much ran. Not quite. We walked fast. The boys didn't get to do as much sniffing around as they normally would. Anyway, we're going to have a spring challenge for the Stash Appreciation Society, and so if you want to join in, then what you need to do is to make a project where you include 3 yarns from your stash. Now, stash is yarn you had in 2016 or earlier. Now, there's no sort of percentage. You can knit 1 row with a yarn from your stash or something like that, as long as there's 3 stash yarns, and you can supplement them with new yarns as well. But yeah, I know there's a couple of people in the group that are really good at picking out yarns from their stash and using them together in really interesting ways. And I thought it was a fun challenge for me to use up some of my leftovers. I have a sock pattern in mind that I haven't brought with me, but I've been meaning to do it for ages. And I even have the yarn all set aside for it. And it is leftovers, it's bits and pieces that I've got. So the spring challenge will run until the end of May, and there'll be a prize, and I'll work that out as we go along. Be something fun. Yeah. This is the sock segment. So over the last few weeks, the hairy man and I have been travelling about a bit. So I've been sitting in the car as he drives. And I thought I would start some tube socks out of my leftovers from stash. I just used the Jane Richmond pattern. Isn't this little girl so cute? Yeah, because it's just, well, I basically just use the numbers from the Jane Richmond pattern. Sometimes I start from the top and sometimes I start from the bottom. So anyway, I had started some of those to knit on, well, as car knitting basically. And the mother-outlaw has recently had her hip replaced, and so we were spending a few evenings driving down to the hospital to see her. And we got there after and I had started on a really fun pair of Fab Funky Fibres socks in one of their Christmas colourways, I think. And we got to the hospital and she'd just had her surgery, so she was in a bit of pain and a bit tired. And the only thing she had to knit on was a really complicated Shetland lace shawl. And she didn't really want to, I don't think, you know how sometimes you don't have the brain space for something that complicated, but you don't want to sit there and do nothing. Being in hospital can be really boring. So I had to leave my knitting with her. I couldn't possibly leave her there. She's a knitter. You can't leave her without knitting. But how could you go into hospital and not take something simple to knit on? She should have taken her mited square blanket. Anyway, so I started another one. This is leftovers from some socks that I made last year. I'll get the tag out. I have got the tag in here. Yeah, this is some self-striping yarn from Eden Yarns, who has stopped dyeing, unfortunately. She's now known as Written in Cloth, and she's doing some marvellous things with naturally dyed fabrics, really beautiful pouches and stuff. It's so intriguing. It's a great shame she's not making self-striping yarn anymore, but I'm just glad that I managed to get some before she stopped. So I finished one sock and I just have to cast on the next one, but I'm just going to keep that as car knitting. And I've got a couple of partial skeins of self-striping yarn, so I thought I would make up some fun tube socks and make sure that all of the kids in my family were adorned in appropriately woolly socks. My mother-outlaw, to her credit, has finished those socks and sent them off to her step-great-grandchild out of law, who thought they were really cool. So yes, I guess it was a team effort in the end. But yeah, fancy going into hospital with only complicated knitting. So since I finished the neon cardigan, I have started another one, and it's in this bag, and I can't show it you because it's a test knit. I can show you bits. So I'm knitting it out of, this is my swatch. It's got this lovely textured pattern. If you've watched here regularly, you will have seen this yarn before because I quite often wear a jumper made from this yarn. It is new LANARK Donegal Tweed in the Aran weight, so it's basically the same as the cardigan that I'm wearing. And I purchased this some time ago to make a really complicated Aran cardigan, and it didn't turn out well. I had issues with gauge, and I made the sleeves and they were so tightly knitted that they actually stood up like two towers by themselves. So I undid it and I made the other jumper that I have out of this yarn, which was one that I just made up as I went along. But because it was much less complicated, I had more than half of the yarn left. And I've been humming and hawing about using this for quite a long time because, do you really need two jumpers that look the same? And then I thought I should knit the other jumper again and make it fit better. And yeah, and there wasn't enough to do a nice Aran cardigan. And so when Claire Devine put on her Instagram feed that she wanted test knitters for her first garment pattern, I decided to jump on that bandwagon because it just had this really simple textured stitch on it. And it had the right yarn and it just sounded like fun. So yeah, this is a collection that's going to come out in April, and it's a collaboration between Claire Devine, who is she Knit Love Share or Knit Share Love, something like that, Claire Devine and Amanda Collins, and it's going to be an ebook called Everyday Adventures. And this is the first test knit I have ever done, and I've been really enjoying it. In my old job, I used to do a lot of end user acceptance testing, and yeah, I thought that was fun. Some people are going to think I'm mad for saying that because basically you have to go through, and for me it's like a game. Every time you find something that needs an amendment, it's like you get a point, and in my head a gong goes off. And especially if there's other testers, you're racing to see who can find the most amendments. And then when they issue a new version, it's like you go up a level because it's harder to find the amendments. And then it all comes together at the end when you all win because there's no amendments and you all go out for donuts. And I hadn't realised that test knitting is just like that. So yeah, I've been really enjoying it. I'm aiming to finish this one before Edinburgh Yarn Festival as well, and I think I will. It's been a really simple, fun knit. The last thing I have to talk to you about is some yarn that I was sent to review. I guess this is a sponsored segment. I was sent this for free and asked to show it to you. So here it is. This is LOULEIGH from the Natural Fibre Company, and I was really interested in this because it is 50% wool, 25% cotton, 15% linen and 10% silk. And one of the reasons I said yes to reviewing this is because I have started thinking about warm weather garments. If it's still snowing at your place, you probably think I'm a bit mad. But as I say, I went out today without a coat on and just a cardi, and it was still quite warm. So, and the bulbs are putting their head through the soil, so it's definitely time to think about things to wear in the summer. Yeah, so they sent me a skein to try out and a skein to give to you. So this is the complete skein. This is the, I think it's the seal colourway. How do we spell that? Because I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it correctly. C-I-E-L. And they come in 50 gram skeins. And then they sent me the flamingo colourway as well. And I have already knitted my swatch from the flamingo colourway. So there's not 50 grams here, but I thought I would give them both away together. So I'm going to open a thread in the LOULEIGH Ravelry group, and I would love to hear about your warm weather knits. If you've knitted something out of a yarn that you thought was particularly good for warm weather, if you've made yourself some garments specifically for warm weather, or things that you're planning to knit, or yarns you're planning to use for warm weather. And I will draw that on the 1st of March. I think this would be really fun to try crocheting with, actually, or make, is it pronounced amigurumi? You know, the little crocheted characters. Yeah, I think that would be really interesting. So that will be drawn on the 1st of March. Now, they also very generously, the people at the Fibre Company, gave me a coupon code for you guys to use. So you can get 30% off their patterns through their website, and you just have to use the coupon code LOULEIGH. So pop over there and see if you like anything, because 30% is actually quite a decent discount. Now, the other thing that I have done is I have knitted a swatch to take this yarn on a test drive. Yeah, and I've been documenting this and my experiments with this on my blog, so you'll see those popping up over the coming week. I want to do some wear tests with it, because I want to compare it to some other sort of warmer weather yarns that I've had my eye on, and see which one I want to knit with this summer. At the moment, it's not got a terribly cottony feel to it. You can tell it's got cotton in it, and it's got a nice drape to it. It's interesting to me that they've put wool and silken, which are both really insulative fibres, and paired that with cotton and linen. I guess the linen and the silk are going to be really strong. But as I say, I have a couple of wear tests planned for this swatch, and so I shall report back on that with you next time. So that's me for today. It's been really lovely to come and chat with you. I think my coffee is cold now. I'll have to go and get myself another one. Yeah, it's been really lovely to chat to you. I hope you'll come over and join us in the Ravelry group and enter the giveaways and our knit alongs. And it'd be nice to see you there. Cheerio!